Hi, and welcome to College Planning Untangled, where we simplify the college planning process for our families and delve into all things, teens and career and just moving forward in life. I'm Kristin Clark. I'm here with Bobby Hood. Bobby, how are we doing today?
Just great. Happy New Year to everyone. Yeah.
Yes. Bobby, I'm so about what's next, what's next, what's next. I kind of
hmm
forget to acknowledge some of what's going on around me in the
Sure.
present. So Happy New Year.
Yeah, absolutely. So last week we talked about the ideas from the Failure to Launch book, right? And now, students sometimes, like as they start transitioning to careers, they might find themselves a little stuck and finding it hard to take the first step, right?
Absolutely. And what we're talking about today is what I hear a lot in my coaching is who's going to take me seriously? Like,
hmm
I'm thinking about getting these big kid jobs, and I've got this imposter syndrome, and I don't know that anybody's going to believe that I can do it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember when I first was trying to get a job and thinking, well, I took classes, but I don't know how to do this job. I don't know how to be an accountant, right?
Oh my
Uh,
gosh. Yeah, Bobby, I got to
right.
tell you the funniest story, and I still remember it to this day. My very first appointment with my new boss, I walk in and he goes, "And Kristin, what I need you to do is take a list of all the franchisees and call them and sell them like basically inserts in the newspaper back in the day." And I kind of did one of these where I was like,
Right.
holy crap, he's talking to
Yeah.
me,
Yeah. You want me to do that?
How in the
Yeah.
hell am I going to do this? And
Yep.
so, yes, I mean, we all deal with that, right? And, we talked about this before the show. Even before I started this business, I was like, who in the hell is going to trust me to work with their kid? Right? What do I know? So
hmm
it's so normal and natural to have those feelings. And especially when you don't have a lot of experience behind you, like a teen or a, newly graduated college student does.
Absolutely. And I think this is part of the thing is like realizing that, like, you don't actually have to know things. Like uh, you learn things by doing them or whatever. But I remember when I was first, maybe a first year or second year attorney, I remember one time a partner asked me to call the attorneys on the other side of a contract that's being negotiated and tell them that a particular provision in the contract that were not going to accept it and wanted it to be taken out. And I asked him why, because I didn't know why provision, why he didn't want it in the contract. And I kind of personally thought that it belonged in the contract. And he said, it doesn't matter. Just tell them we're not going to do it. And, it was like what you just described. I was like, you want me to just call and tell them that we're not going to do it, but I don't know why. And I'm not going to have a reason why. And so I went and I got on the phone and I called this very experienced attorney at a very prominent law firm and told him we're not going to do it. And he said, well, and he made a very persuasive argument why it should be kept in. And I said, well, I appreciate that. I understand that, but we don't want that provision in the contract. And he gave me another argument that was also very good why it should be in. And I said, I agree. I think that's very persuasive, but we just don't want that provision in the contract. And I just kept saying that because I had no other words to say because
Right?
I had no reason. And after about 10 minutes, he said, well, you've done an excellent job negotiating and you've convinced me. Let's take it out of the contract.
And you said nothing.
I
It's so
had
funny.
literally said no sentence other than we don't want it in the contract. And then he offered me a job if I wanted to come and work for him because he found me to be such a good negotiator. And this was the point at which I realized that, like, none of it, like you don't actually have to know things. You just have to
And actually, Bobby,
say
in that
things.
situation, you were better off not knowing because I went down the same
Exactly.
path you did. I was like,
Right.
well, why wouldn't he tell you that? Right. And you
Yeah.
would have tried to negotiate that way and you would have been so out of your
Well,
element.
I mean, the point was that there wasn't a good reason to not have it in there. But the
Yep.
point is that it's not about, right? It's about learning to just say things because if you just say a thing confidently, people will like will take you seriously. I mean, that's the point
Absolutely.
of this, right?
Yeah.
Will I be taken seriously? And I was like, how did that person take me seriously? I don't understand, but I think it's because it's just being confident in what you're saying and
Yeah.
presenting
Well,
things in a certain way. I'm still confused about that, right? But
well,
the point is that once you have done a job for a few years, then you do start becoming actually confident and knowing the right answer to things, right? And
right.
so
Well, and
now I know the answer to things.
but that's what we need to bridge that gap to our
Right.
kids, right? And to our clients and people that we're trying to coach is it's okay. Number one, nobody expected you to have all the answers. That
Right.
wasn't part of the scenario.
Exactly.
Um, they know that this is your first rodeo. They
Right.
get it. They're not confused by any of
Yeah.
that. So it's okay. One of the things that I always kind of chuckle at too is, Bobby, I have a degree in art and I got a job in marketing.
Mhm.
Okay. First job. The reason I got the job, and it was for a pizza franchise, is because I worked in restaurants growing
Mhm.
up. And that's the reason I got the job. So I had no idea what to do in marketing. They put
Sure.
me in front of a bunch of people to do marketing co-ops. And one of the first questions somebody asked me is, what's the rule on what is the parliamentary procedure? And I was like, dude, what the hell's I
Yeah,
have no
exactly.
idea. So sometimes you just have to screw up too,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
again, yes, it feels embarrassing at the time, but at the end of the day, everybody gets it, right? So it's
Right. And
making this less scary.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing. I mean, when the question is if you've got a student and they're getting ready to go out into the working world and they say, "Gosh, I just don't know if I'm going to be taken seriously. Why would anyone take me seriously?" Right? Is that the reason you get hired is not because you took certain classes or you know certain things. They want to hire you because you show that you have interpersonal skills, you can work with other people, and that you are capable of learning and figuring out what to do. Right.
Right.
And that's
And you
all.
know what? You're reminding me of something, Bobby. Yes, that you're capable of doing things, right? I
Mhm.
will tell you this, when I walked into a franchisee's store
Mhm.
and it got busy, guess what happened? I was able to jump up and make pizzas because they needed
Sure.
the help, right? So that's what I brought to the party.
Mhm.
And, when you're thinking about this, will they take me seriously? All of these things matter. It's like you do have a history and you do have things that you've done in your life. And I think by helping kids understand that, teens getting ready to launch, all the things, helping them kind of think through what do you bring to the table? Let's
Mhm.
work on that, and I think it'll help them just feel they're not going to feel completely confident. We get that. Most kids, you're still walking in scared. We all do. But, we can at
So
least
that
make them
is
feel
part of the
better.
thing is realizing that whether you're taken seriously doesn't have to do with your the classes you took or your GPA or things like that. It's the interpersonal things and it's your ability to pitch in and your ability to understand and listen to other people. And like, in the case of like, you have an art background, you're working in marketing with pizza franchises, but you can sell them stuff because you know their business and you can talk to them about their business and you understand what their business is like. And so that couple of minutes where you're talking to them about how their business is going and showing that you understand it and relate to it, that's what sells the
It's the
marketing,
magic.
right?
Absolutely, it's the magic. And the thing is, everybody has something walking into this, or
Mhm.
somebody wouldn't have hired you in the first place.
Oh
You
yeah,
know? So
exactly.
again, to me, Bobby, it's the takeaway item is how do we help new people going into the workforce realize that what they do have, the knowledge they do have,
Mhm.
the experiences they do have, to go, okay, good. This is how you can use them. Because if we don't bridge that gap, I can see where they're confused and scared, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, and that's what this is about is like these are stumbling blocks that can keep you frozen in place because you're just thinking, oh, nobody's going to take me seriously. Oh, I don't really know how to do it yet. How am I really going to do this? Right. And so it's talking through that and thinking about the skills you do have can really absolutely remove those blocks.
Yeah, well, and you brought up a really good point. It's the conversation and having these discussions with not only your 20 something,
Mhm.
but your college kid, your teenager, even going back, Bobby, I just put together some career conversations as early as elementary school.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, just to go, you know what, here, let's start talking now.
Right.
So it's not a weird conversation when you get it to be a teenager or a college student. Let's start talking about ideas now. And let's
Yeah.
explore and have fun.
Normalize talking about it even at an early age. And then it's something that's just a regular conversation.
Absolutely. All right. Well, good.
Okay. This is great. Well, this is an excellent conversation, and we'll